Hey, where are you guys? Welcome everybody back to Powerhouse Finch Show. It's a Finch show.
It is. We talk about some
There's
fence
pictures
things.
of fence on the wall. We've had a guest, Alyssa. This is part 2. For those who are joining in for the first time, this is a 2-part thing. We aired the last one last Thursday. My name's Zach Shue. I'm the other host. This is Dan, the host and another host. We talk about things that pertain to the commercial fence industry, which are also applicable to other things, but our personal experience is pretty much limited to. They put caramel in Dan's coffee.
Extra caramel.
How do y'all pronounce caramel?
Caramel.
Me too. I mean, you hear me saying it. So, what about you? You a caramel, Alyssa?
Caramel.
Caramel.
She ain't even paying no attention.
Caramel.
I am caramel.
What about Ilaria? Sorry.
Caramali.
I didn't know I counted caramel,
Oh, good job. How about coconut?
coconut.
What? That's not what you said before. She practiced.
Wait. What was that thing she said?
I can't say it. She said it was family friendly.
Oh,
Family friendly Finch show.
This will not be explicit
I know
tonight.
what are you talking about Riley?
No, we're talking
Hey,
about how
Riley.
you pronounce
I'm
coconut
trying
earlier.
to get back
Oh,
in
man.
the
Say coconut?
screen.
Here.
You said like coconut.
Oh,
Said
the
what?
Italian came out.
You did say coconut.
Yeah, for sure.
which
That's why
is-
we were all laughing.
It's not funny when I say it.
No.
It didn't
It's
feel
not.
funny at all. It
No.
felt wrong.
Neither of you made it entertaining.
It was
but
so wrong.
It was pretty funny when she said it.
Anybody got any good stories? Have you tried to poison yourself this week, Ilaria?
No,
That's it? That's all we get? No.
that's all
She's
you
not
get.
participating.
I've been
tonight,
sick.
Debate.
I didn't have time to poison anyone.
You sound poisoned right now.
A little bit.
Our entire office, I think, is or has been recently sick. So that's pretty exciting.
Well, I came
There
up.
was like a line of people at the bathroom earlier trying to take their temperature.
Please let me go home. Please let me go
Yeah,
I
home.
think
Yeah.
I found out that I think they were just trying to change the batteries in the thermometer. All 5
Oh,
people.
all 18 of them?
Yeah, everyone
Hmm.
was
How many-
collectively changing 2 AA batteries
That's
How
on
many
brand.
fence folk does it take?
That's on brand.
to change a battery in the. And now we get to line up and take our temperature to see who gets to go home.
Oh, cool. That's what we get to do tomorrow.
Right.
Yay.
All
Looking
right.
forward to it.
Come on in.
I have a story to tell.
What?
No, I have a story to tell.
All right,
What?
Yeah, let's hear this story.
Dueling Turbyville stories. I like
Mm.
Or is
this.
it the same story?
Oh.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So, in honor of payroll week, I came up with another story.
Okay.
And by came up with, she means
Are
it's
you-
happened since the last episode. Just to be clear
Just
about
so
that.
that we could have a story tonight.
You mean you didn't write a short story for this purpose?
No.
Okay. Just to clarify.
So 2 weeks ago, I got an email from Ilaria asking that I
Oh yes, I like this story.
change her bank account for her direct deposit, which I thought was a little weird. I'm no longer HR, which means no payroll duties whatsoever. So I responded to her email and I said, sure. Daniel.
Yes.
She's telling the story.
Yeah.
And I said, so I found it weird. And so I responded to Ilaria and I said, sure, just forward your information to Angie. And so Ilaria responded, well, I don't have Angie's information, so can I just send it to you?
None.
And so, and
My tongue's going to bleed.
this is all while we are all within 5 feet of each other.
All
And
sitting in the same building.
all sitting in the same building, and she's not that far away. I don't know why, but I felt like she wanted to keep this in writing over email. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can change it. So Friday, end of day comes, and I was meant to tell her, hey, I didn't have a chance to change your bank account today. I'll do it next week. But then I forgot. And then Monday came, and I was going to let her know, hey, I'll get this done by Wednesday. And so Tuesday comes, and it has to be done by Wednesday. And so Tuesday comes, and I was like, oh, I need to do it right now. And I almost sent Ilaria a message saying, hey, I'm about to change your bank account for your direct deposit right now. Just in case I got in the middle of doing something, I wanted her to check in with me to make sure I did it. Well, I was like, actually, I can do it right now. No one's coming in to get me. So I changed her bank account information. And the email response after I told them, after they sent the bank account information, the new bank account information, it said, please send me a confirmation. So I sent them a screenshot of the QuickBooks where it said, you've changed it. And that also includes the routing number and the bank account number. And so I sent that snip to Ilaria in an email and I said, double check. Now I've triple checked this, but I want you to double check. And she responded, yeah, that's great. So Friday comes, I'm late, and Angie comes and gets me, the lady who does payroll, and she's trying to find a nice way to say I screwed up Ilaria's bank account. And basically I said, but I have an email. Like, she confirmed that the account was right. And Angie said, Ilaria said she didn't send an email. Sure enough, we got scammed. So, yep, we got scammed. Not we. I got scammed.
Thank you.
So
I was gonna say I don't remember
She
sending
being
any
a part of
emails. Who was the email? What was the? Who was
the
the email from? Alaria.scamsrus.
It was like SWS07 at Gmail.
some random fake email account?
Yeah. And I was like,
And
seems
so
legit.
it was ironic because the reason I found out about it because I was like, hey, look at this junk email that I got. How
No.
stupid.
no, you found out because I went in to your office with my tail tucked between my legs to tell you how I screwed up.
Must have been the same day whenever.
And that's when you were like,
Can I interrupt? Is this the same story?
Yeah.
This is the story you were going to tell?
No.
Oh,
No.
it's getting a little. I'm feeling a little in the
Feeling-
middle, stuck in the middle here. Just saying.
Are you a little left out?
No, not left out.
Oh.
Over included.
Oh.
Turby
I'd
versus
prefer.
Turby.
Yeah, I'd prefer to be left out.
Mm.
Well, so is this one of those episodes where we pretend that we don't publicly humiliate people for their mistakes and then do it anyways?
Go for it. Now this is a roast.
I think you
of
did.
Me.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. So you didn't
Yeah.
get paid?
We had
She
to cut
did
her
get
a
paid.
we had
Okay,
to cut
okay.
her a paper check.
Yeah,
we
they gave
didn't.
me a check.
But you did have like a moment of like,
Well,
where's my payment for the week?
yeah, because okay, payday here is like Friday, but I'm lucky that it hits my bank account on Thursdays.
Yeah.
So when I didn't see, I was like, it's whatever. Like I'm just like everyone else. My bank is just late. It doesn't matter. And then I came in on Friday and asked Don. He was like, "You get paid?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I asked Mike. I was like, "You get paid?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh no." And I went
Oh,
to Angie. She was
no.
like, "I don't know. I'll figure it out." And I thought it was just like a.
Oh, and that's where she figured out that it was
That's where-
something weird had
yeah.
gone down.
It was funny because Angie was like, I'll check. And she was stuttering. She was
I
like,
know.
I'll check. I'll let
Angie-
you know. I'll see. I'll figure it
So-
out. But she didn't. She was very.
Angie didn't want to throw me under the bus because
And-
the boss, I guess. But no, I screwed up.
I'm sorry how
Mm.
to tell you this.
So how it all wound up is I got to pay Ilaria's paycheck twice this week.
But I got it just once.
But she only got the
Yeah, but
benefit
she's
still
of
waiting.
one.
You got it once, and then China got it, or Russia, or whoever got it once, and that's it for me. Yay, yay, Dan.
Yeah.
Mm.
So what I told Alyssa, I was like, "You have their account number and routing number. Go do an electronic check for $100,000."
Well, it's Cash App. They have to
Yeah.
approve the purchase before it runs.
Yeah, so it that didn't work. But what I can say, the moral of the story is when you get an email, make sure you look at the email address because the scammers will send emails and it'll like say Alyssa or Zach or whatever. But if you actually look at the address, it'll be that like A147863@gmail.com and they just like put whoever's name on it, right? So always that's step one. And then frequently when I get a weird email that has an attachment or something like that, and it doesn't, if it looks odd, I will like ask the people. I might call them and say, "Hey, did you really send me this?" Or at least email them and be like, "Is this legit?" So
Well-
I try to do that too. So just some pointers of things that listeners could do.
And in my defense, I did see that. I thought it was her personal email address. I thought it was just some random personal email address. And Like, so I wasn't gonna ask
Well,
her.
you know her personal email address is alarialoveskittens
Right.
at gmail.com.
Well, I thought this might be her business personal
Ilaria
email.
puppy kitty at gmail.com.
Hey, I have the Italian word for the week, and that is mistake.
Hold on. I was just thinking one last thing on that. It's funny that in that circumstance, there was very minimal internal communication, wherein typically we're talking across like multiple
Yelling
platforms
from one
Usually-
another
Yeah,
while
we're
we're
really
sending
good.
each other emails and Teams messages.
on the phone with you, sending you an email and in a Teams
Oh, hey,
message.
check that Teams message I just sent you. Does that sound right?
Yep, it's all on me. I did not double check.
All right. So, what you got?
You said mistake.
Yeah.
Errore.
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 Slay.
No. Errode.
That's my
Not bad.
revenge for you making fun of me when I say coconut.
There we go.
That's how she says it.
All right, so
All
your
right.
story.
So now, story time number 2. We're
I'm not going to have time for a story.
I know.
Good.
We're taking all of your story time, but mine's going to be
That's
quick.
the only thing I do on the show.
All right. So story 1, Alyssa got scammed. We got scammed.
We did get. We'll take that with you.
Thank you.
I'll
Yeah, that's
share
a
some-
we.
Yeah, we're
That's a
Memphis,
we. That's
we
a
are
training.
Memphis,
That's a training
we're a
deficiency.
Memphis fence company.
All right.
Yes.
So story number 2, we're doing a job and the job had a slide gate on it. The slide gate opened to the left. And
yes.
we look at it and we're like, that's not going to work. It doesn't fit. We're just going to make it open to the right. Okay. So then what happened was actually 2 things with that gate. So one thing, set the post, pulled measurements, all of that, built the gate the wrong way. Right. So the gate was built the wrong way. And then the second thing that happened was the contractor had all the electrical and all the conduit and everything for the automation stubbed up on the wrong side of the opening. So that we just looked at it and we're like, that's not going to work. We're going to build it the other way. And what we should have done was been like, hey, Mr. Contractor, that's not going to work. Just so you know, the gate's going to have to go the other way. Fortunately, they were super understanding and they're like, I don't know why they drew it that way. What's going on with these people? Like, that'll never work. And I was like, okay, yeah. And no, actually, I did fess up and I told him, like, really, I should have told you. And I'm sorry. So if you want to be mad at me. So that's my story. So if you make changes to a job, tell someone, like the contractor, and I should have. And anyone listening is going to be like, what an idiot. And that's cool. That's what we're here for.
Is that the one where the installer came in and he's like, why'd y'all do it that way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
that's when we built the gate backwards. So we have the installer
He
that's
says-
mad because the gate's back. Well, in fact,
like-
Dan was a little unhappy because we built the gate backwards. I am Dan. And then the installer was unhappy because we built the gate backwards. And then the contractor was unhappy because all the conduit was stubbed up on the wrong side. So everybody got mad. But we all worked through it and we made it to the end of it. And now we're installing the gate the right way. So that's what I got.
Yeah. There we go.
You have anything you want to
All right.
add to that?
All right, Zach.
No. Why would I want to participate in this?
In this like self
Yes. No.
confessional?
No, I don't have anything. What did I do?
Forgive me, fencers, for I
Right.
have failed.
We did not install. We went to install a walk gate. The pitch was wrong, and it was just a miscommunication between me and the
This is
install
like
foreman.
this is real life because I've never heard about this.
Well, we fixed it. They brought it back. I personally fixed the gate in 30 minutes, and we recoded it and sent it back out.
Yeah.
Because the customer was furious. I still to this day don't know why she was so mad. She was mad because it didn't fit the first time.
Yeah, that's so it's kind of interesting how people's like psychology works with all of that. You haven't had a gate for the past 27 years. We showed up with a gate that was built wrong, and we're gonna have it installed tomorrow. And then you're furious because you didn't have a gate
today, I
Today,
guess. I don't really
right?
I don't know
That's-
why. I mean, and this isn't a you haven't called me, you just showed up in the gate's wrong thing. Like I've been really proactive about being in contact with our customers because we are typically experiencing a longer than expected lead time or
Right.
longer than what they want. It's not longer than what I've promised. It's just longer than what people want, basically.
Yeah. I mean, that's
You want
just
it
our
in
life.
you want it in 6 and I give it to you in 12.
You okay over there?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Bringing back some experience in the residential.
Exactly. I was going to my happy place.
Right. I can't talk about that. That's been my biggest headache the past couple weeks has been with residential
Yeah.
customers.
They're pretty difficult.
And I am like, pretty easygoing on the phone and I
Oh,
don't
wait.
understand.
We're not supposed to talk negative about our customers. They have high expectations. Is that okay to say? That's not negative, right?
Yeah. Well, how about this? Commercial customers, contractors who work
Are
in the
also
business
difficult.
can be difficult, but also more forgiving when the schedule changes.
Like the whole gate being the conduit on the wrong side, and they're just like, yeah, we got to fix it.
Yes,
we already did it.
saying that things happen in other terminology is a real thing.
Yep.
Things happen. Materials delayed, fabrication takes longer, people get sick and don't show up to work. You lose employees.
We forget to like build some post.
Sure.
Yeah.
All kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it seems like in the commercial communication line, that's a little bit more. People are a little bit more easygoing about that.
We did have a commercial customer. We replaced a fence and we had to put in a new cantilever gate for him. And went out there, installed the cantilever gate, and the guy was pretty unhappy that the gate was not automated the same day.
I'm having that too.
And the automation happened the following day, but this guy was pretty unhappy. And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, you're going to have to shut the gate by hand tonight and then open it by hand in the morning, but it will be automated tomorrow. And like, that's the best we can do. We don't have an overnight crew that comes behind and does the automation.
So I guess what I can glean from this is in that circumstance, just say, this is the process, right? We'll hang the gate and a day or so following the automation will then be installed.
So I think what we should do is y'all napping? I think what we should do is have a document that kind of like spells out the whole process.
Yeah, because it's not ours doesn't necessarily change. We fabricate, we go out, we hang it, or whatever. We set posts, we fabricate, we hang. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, if there is automation, like I think we could explain that process. Like we like to go set the terminal post on an iron fence, set the terminal post, measure in between, and build the fence to fit, build the gates to fit, and then come back and install it. And frequently, I think it's a thing where people see us set post for a gate or for the fence or whatever, and they expect us to be back the following day to install it. So,
more info.
Yeah. I think we could do a thing. I think we could like or just make a document that's, like a simple little 1-page thing. It's kind of like our process A, process B,
what
process
you can
C.
expect.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we could do that.
Your fence project with Memphis. I like this. Yeah. That's cool.
Hey, listeners, if you have suggestions, if you have something like that, let us know.
I personally, my story is not too well. I've had some crazy stuff with the kids this week.
We're 19 minutes in and we've had 2 stories.
Good deal. I'm keeping it brief. So I have had some crazy experiences with kids being kids, basically. My 5-year-old daughter went feral and like bit some children on the playground and then like ran and hid like a wild animal. So that, I don't know where that came from. So that's been fun. And, that's that part. But as far as here in Memphis Fence Company, I've been doing some fabrication because we're really, one, I have a guy who needs some training. So I need to do some hands-on with him in order to train him to where he needs to be, to do fabrication work. And then also, these longer lead times in order to try to get this stuff out in a reasonable timeline. I'm not only working in the shop in the office doing sales and following up with sold jobs and all that entails.
Mhm.
I'm also going back and forth to the iron shop and spending a few hours a day, increasingly more hours a day, actually fabricating. So
Yeah,
I
someone
got my hands look normal again.
normal again. Someone asked me yesterday, like, well, did you talk to Zach about that? I was like, I saw Zach this morning, I think like one time, and I haven't seen him since. I don't know where he went.
Yeah. So next week, one of my lead fabricator is going on vacation. Who we share a birthday actually. So that's interesting. I told her next year I'm going on vacation. You're gonna stay here and build these damn gates.
Right.
Um, so I'll
Wait,
be
your
taking
birthday's next week?
next
I
Monday.
know.
Monday?
So I'll be taking, yeah, I'll be taking.
Okay.
What was that?
I'm
Planning.
supposed to tell
Alyssa
her.
gets
Plan-
really excited about birthdays.
Yes. The
Um,
planning has begun.
Okay, I'll be 41. If anyone's curious. Yeah. So next week I'll be pretty much mostly in the shop. So
It's exciting.
it's fun, but it's also I'm over there wondering what am I forgetting or who's going to be mad at me next.
Mm-hmm. Right. For sure. And that's the way it goes.
So
So you were talking about your kid going feral and like biting other kids. So our daughter she's very healthy, and other kids like to bite her.
Yeah.
She
you
got
just made
bit,
her sound like a food source.
Well, that's what I
She
that's what I
kinda-
say. I wonder if it's the skinny
This is
kids,
like some
skinny
Right.
kids who don't have enough
some
lunch.
kind of primal.
They're like
It's-
Oh, that-
reverting back to caveman or something.
arms looking mighty good.
Ooh, that girl's a little
Ooh.
juicy. I'm gonna get a little bite of that.
Mm.
So watch out for Zach's daughter.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
keep them separated.
Yeah.
So.
For sure. Next company picnic, those two are to be on opposite sides of the table.
Oh, we didn't do who are we presented by?
I don't
Who's
know.
sponsoring this thing?
You are. I'm sorry to be so pessimistic.
Come
Brought to
on,
you.
Zach.
I typically do like a grand introduction. I'm feeling a bit weird, man, like a little sickish.
We're
So
as discussed,
brought to you
everyone
by
is sick.
Memphis MFC Manufacturing, Simpalo, and Memphis Fence Company.
Yeah, so we don't really talk about what those things do very often. So here's a little 30 seconds. MFC Manufacturing, we build custom built iron fence
And gates.
and gates and aluminum slide gates and steel slide gates and all of these things. So if you have a job that's some weird spec that has to be custom built, we can do that for you.
And we won't do it backwards.
We'll try not to do it backwards.
Or if we do, we won't tell you.
And if we do and we don't know and you tell us, we'll fix it.
We fix everything.
We do.
I mean, we fix everything. I was telling the guys in the shop today, they were like, since I've been over there, they're all hypersensitive about mistakes. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it doesn't, I mean, obviously their proficiency and efficiency are important, but really you're only judging ourselves on the end result. And as long
Yep.
as you get there, the way you got to get there to a degree.
I mean, mistakes cost money. So
But these are
there's
small
that
things.
piece.
These are small things.
So like I think the way I try to explain it to people, like, hiring new people, you're going to screw up, get over it. I don't condone you screwing up, making mistakes, but it's going to happen. So like, don't think that anyone expects you to show up to work on day one and be perfect.
Right.
Right. Let's get over that fact. Everyone's going to mess up and let's move on.
Yes, all the people I currently have are in training.
Right.
Basically.
Aren't we all in training forever?
Sure.
Isn't that what we're doing right now?
Yes.
Kinda. One of these days, somebody's going to like tell us some stuff on here.
I've been watching this show for years, and I got something I want to tell
I gotta
you, boys.
say something to you. So Simpalo is estimating software.
You don't know shit.
But we try. Simpalo's estimating software. Check it out, simpalo.com. We're on every social media thing ever. Ilaria, make sure that we're everywhere. So we are going to Tony Thornton's. Well, I'm going to Tony Thornton's Fence Business Conference. I think I do that every time. I start off by we, and then I change it
There's
to I
no
just to
we
kind of
about
like
it.
rub it in a little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
At the Shangri-La.
At the Shangri-La. Oh, it's You wouldn't like it.
Yeah, sounds terrible.
It sounds hideous. All right. So what did we get to last time? We went over we talked some 1099 W2 stuff. We talked about certified payroll, wage rates. We talked and then I guess payroll taxes would be next, maybe. Did we talk about that any?
We did.
We made some kind of weird comparison between hourly and salary, some kind.
Oh yeah, did you get the answer to that question?
What was
The
question?
world is hoping that you have the answer.
The only thing I found is that it could potentially be what we said about the whole minimum wage thing. So I'm assuming that manager, what was it again?
It was that somebody from the office couldn't be salaried because they spent too much time in the field.
Something like that, yeah.
So this could like cross apply to me if I'm working in the shop. I'm not assuming it does. I'm just saying it's an
Yeah, what I think they said, or what I remembered, my takeaway was some kind of like a field supervisor, maybe, or something like that. Which I'm assuming might also require a lot of travel and stuff. And so then there is that possibility with travel, you're on the clock when you're traveling. So that would possibly be an issue with what's it called?
Overtime.
Overtime.
How about that?
Not getting properly paid for overtime since their salary.
That's the only thing I could really think of is
That's-
the overtime piece of it.
That's what I was thinking, and I've pretty much confirmed that because I can't find any other reason why someone can't be salary. So the OT component.
I have a question. What about piecework? Or so in the mechanic world, they get paid commission, is what they call it. But I mean, it's kind of like piecework, I guess. But like if they have to do a motor job on such and such vehicle, then it pays 18 hours. And if they get it done in 6, great. If it takes them 36, that sucks for them.
I don't know much about. I know I felt on the spot.
Part 3.
Yes.
Part
Donnie,
3. We'll talk about automotive industry.
Donnie, we did talk about the scam yet. You'll have to go back to the beginning. Sorry, sir.
Gosh, Donnie.
Could we do that? Is that a thing? Could that happen in the fence industry? Could we?
So, do you know anything about? Like, are they W-2?
I
Are they
believe so.
1099?
I don't think so.
I have a friend who owns a shop. We could ask him. Have him on the show. Or just ask him.
Yeah.
Just call him up right now. Hey, we're live, man.
Hey, we have a question for you.
We have a question. I'll be honest, I don't know anything about that. So
I'd be a bit apprehensive about calling him without some kind of warning.
Right.
I did say he's my friend.
All right. So I think I've kind of thought about doing like piecework, right? In the manufacturing.
You did do some.
No, I've kind of thought about doing piecework over there in the shop, but that gets real messy because then
Sign me up. I'll do it.
Okay, but then you have to work alone if you're going to get paid piecework, or even I think commission on a specific project like the automotive type commission that they say.
However, I decide to pay it out, right? I could just have a helper.
So then you hire your own helper?
Yeah.
And so how do they get? Where's their workers' comp coming from?
I guess that would be me. Now we're in subcontracting.
Right.
territory.
So now you're a subcontractor and you're
So
just
what's
getting
the
paid for the
difference?
job.
I thought you did some once. You did. You're afraid to say.
No. I've subbed out people building fence, but that's just been like straight up.
I've heard tell of fence being built on the Memphis Fence property by people who are not employees by the piece. Is that a real thing?
No. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
we need names. Pieces
when?
built.
Early 2000s?
Oh, I don't know about that.
10?
I was like 8.
2010?
Come on, man.
2012?
Okay, so what I
Oh,
just found
2012? No.
I think so.
what I found real quick is that it's a contract you enter in, employee, employer, and but you still have to comply with minimum wage. So,
So as long as they're exceeding
as
minimum
long
wage.
as they're exceeding minimum wage, as long as you both agree to it, then that's how you do it.
Interesting. All right. Anyways, was there anything else we need to like circle back on from last time? Oh gosh, I bet Alyssa's gonna find some random thing and ask me.
Oh, I didn't. I should have.
Wait, I answered someone's question that I thought was pretty interesting, and I was like, we should talk about that. Oh, someone asked the question: How do you what do you define as commercial?
Ooh.
Right. So you could define commercial based on, I guess, material type or, stuff like that, maybe.
As far as when I am, let's see, ask the questions I ask the customer, is this a business? So if the person possesses a business license, then that becomes a commercial job in the B2B version.
What about in someone did this where it was clearly at their house?
Right. Did we
But-
bid that?
That's what. No, we didn't do it.
Once
but
you
that's what
figured
I
out
was-
he was trying to
Oh,
pull one over.
No,
They,
it was
they
the
got
price.
a price.
It was the price.
We quoted it like we're willing to do it.
We quoted it like
Yeah,
you
'cause
got
he
a
said-
commercial checkbook. But that's what I was about to say. Is to me, maybe what defines commercials? Who's writing the check?
If the location is zoned as commercial, according to Mr. Donnie.
Yep. But then you've got churches, which we consider.
Multifamily housing. Industrial is zoned industrial. Well, we're gonna have to look at the zoning to see if we can come give you a price.
We have
Sit tight.
never asked a person if their property was zoned as
No.
commercial.
No.
If it was like Nanny's daycare and she had said it's a business, we would go look at it.
Yep.
And we might end up doing it because we really, as far as talking about processes, we don't have we really are kind of fumbling through the process for that. Remember, whoever asked this question, we've only been doing it for, this year. At the start of this year, we've started to try to move into commercial work.
Yeah. I mean,
we've started to institute a dollar value to determine
a minimum.
Yeah.
That's just because people get pissy when you tell them we don't do residential.
Right.
I had a guy through our like contact email. He said, I called up there and they said that y'all didn't do residential.
I'm
this
gonna call the
real?"
owner and ask him then.
And so the guy sent an email and I was like, yep, we do not do it. So sorry. And he's like, well, that's crazy. You should update your stuff and make sure people know that. And I was like, well, now you know. I mean,
Well, it sounds like we let you know on the phone.
I wish the hardware store would just sell milk already.
Adam Turbeville.
I don't
put him on.
Nope.
I don't think Adam is calling to be a part of. Should we just answer? Be like, hey, sorry, doing a show. What's up?
I'm not into it.
Okay. All right, let's move on then.
Thank you.
Sorry, Adam, if you are listening by chance, I do apologize, sir.
It was me and Alyssa that vetoed.
I tried.
The co-hosts are a little down tonight, so
I know. Yeah, so to me, single family housing.
I know. I like Donnie's response. It was a suggestion, not an
I
answer.
was-
Oh, sorry.
Jesus. Sensitive.
What's the difference? I'm going to start doing that when people ask me a question. I'm going to give them a suggestion, not an answer.
Isn't that how you phrase all of your answers, though?
Try. I suggest you go look here and find the answer yourself. No. So to me, if it's single family housing, clearly residential. Right?
But who's paying the checkbook?
I don't care who's paying it.
Who's paying the checkbook? But where's the check coming from? I mean, it
Okay,
wouldn't be.
So you mean like if some contractor
We
that was doing a
did-
home remodel and all? I still think it's residential.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a residential property.
Right. And also, I don't know what. I answer questions with suggestions.
He said what I said.
All right. So I think if it's on a single family house, That's definitely residential to me. And HOA is really the biggest gray area thing because, like, an HOA is kind of a commercial entity, but the HOA board is just a bunch of single family homeowners that live in the neighborhood. So now instead of working for one residential company, our customer, we're working for 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 that are all going to gang up on us at once. That sounds pretty terrifying.
It is. I'll tell you from experience. I
Yeah.
got one that won't. It just won't go away.
Mm.
And I had an email today from it's a property management for an HOA, and
Even better.
I forgot to respond, but they said, "Can you provide a quote on repairing fence at this house, and this house for this HOA?"
Absolutely
and
not.
In the past I have, but
10,000 per house.
I want to say I cannot quote this project at this time.
Or actually, I have no intention of ever quoting this project.
I think they've given Zach some ironwork, so that's why it's. What do you want to do with that relationship?
Yeah,
if it's the one I'm talking about, just run like hell. Just saying.
We can discuss after the podcast.
Yeah, it got to be so bad that now the project manager, who was like the intercessory for the HOA, is just no longer copied on any of the emails, and it's just taking turns from 6 or 8 different emails from the HOA, and everyone's asking when and where and how and what time and what's going on with, and there's no point of contact.
It's absolutely terrible.
It's chaotic as could be. And so I'm just trying to get out of this.
And so the project manager, I think you've described this situation to me a little bit, and you think it's somebody like this is their first job.
She's obviously young.
Right. And so they're probably just like, they didn't know what to do. And so they're just like hiding under their desk.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I may have designated to her that I'll take care of it. You know, like,
so you put yourself in the situation.
Well, it got crazy. Crazy, you know? And so
all right, so that's a story for another day. Maybe we should talk about the things we didn't get to last time before we just run out of time.
Okay. Well, we know we've shifted to direct deposit only. Hence these.
How'd that work out for us in the last week?
Hence the scam.
Have we talked about that?
The scam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But we can talk about it some more if you'd like.
No.
Not yours. I'm talking about the initial guy riding around with the mobile check printing system in the back of his Toyota Tercel or whatever.
The initial scam that wasn't me.
I mean, we could do a brief blog.
I think we just kind of like touched on that a little bit when we said we went to direct deposit because of some scams, some fraud checks.
So like the gas station attendant from The Simpsons was riding around in a 2-door Accord with a printer and a bunch of fake checks in the back, going around to get to local.
So just one gas station, right?
No, I think more than
they
one.
cashed like 17 fake fraudulent checks at the same gas station.
No, one did. Remember?
Maybe, yeah.
He said that one guy came up and he would do it, and he called the number on the check. Newsflash, it wasn't our phone number.
Right.
It's the guy himself.
Yeah.
Little did they know the phone call was coming from inside the house.
The dude sitting in the car in the parking lot answered the phone and said, "Yeah, that
Hold
check
on, I'll
is
be
great."
right back. Hello? Yeah, that's good.
My favorite part of the story. So the gas station attendant then called Dan and he said, "I'm going to lose my job. Are you going to cover all this money?"
It's like $25,000.
Yeah.
Are you going to cover all this money?
I was like, no, you're crazy. I didn't cash the checks. So anyways, what happened? I suspect that someone went to like one of these check cashing places or something along those lines. They took a picture of one of our payroll checks, and then that's how the people that were creating the fraudulent checks got a hold of them. And that's what made us go to direct deposit only. So what they're talking about, the guy really did have a printer in the back seat of his car, and he had a bunch of like check blanks. And so what he was doing was printing the check out, putting the logo, the address, information, phone number that we just talked about, all of that in the top left corner of the check, printing the rest of it and putting some form of some signature on the check. And so the gas station, which convenience store, whatever it was,
liquor store, maybe.
This, on day one, I think one person went in there And then the next day, like 3 went in there. And then the next day, I think like 6 or 8 people showed up all at the same time with same checks from us. And nobody ever thought anything was weird. Like the same dude came with a payroll check 3 days in a row.
Mhm.
And, $1,000, $1,400 check, whatever. And, nobody thought that anything was odd about it. And like I said, I think they wound up cashing something like $25,000 worth of checks in there. So,
And then
And-
asked Dan to cover it.
yeah. And asked me to pay him back.
And
After the
we-
money had already come out of our account. So let's pay $50,000.
And
Well,
the guy, how did they
I
catch
mean,
him?
yeah,
He
we
was
got-
stopped on like a regular traffic stop in Germantown or something
Yeah.
weird.
Somehow they like pulled him over in Germantown and just found like his mobile
What are all
office
these
in the back
illegal
seat.
checks doing back here, sir?
Right. It seems you have 7,000 checks in your back seat and a computer and printer. What is this all about?
Yeah.
Oh, I have a small business. I had to do
Right.
payroll today. So, anyways. All right.
Sales tax.
Sales tax. All right.
We all take a deep. Okay, so I'll just go into it.
Go for it.
All right. Well, sales
Tim-
tax.
Tennessee, though, right?
This is going to be Tennessee specific.
Yeah, because
Yes,
that's where
'cause
we are.
I don't know all these states' sales tax rules, but yeah, you have
Good
to.
point.
I was recycling last week where you brought up that she often knows random states'
She does.
tax laws.
Even though she doesn't admit it, apparently.
Sorry, that sore, I guess.
No, it's
Too soon, so they say.
it's not sore. I just don't know what he's talking about. But yeah. So you have to in Tennessee, like we have to pay sales tax on the material that we use in installations. We actually don't pay sales tax because that's what you would on the initial purchase of the material before you even install it, you would pay sales tax. We are tax exempt. I'm assuming most of the fence companies in Tennessee would be tax exempt.
Could be.
Could be tax exempt, but then you need, like what we do is we pay use tax after we invoice the job. So we pay use tax on all of the material that we used, because in Tennessee, the material it's considered. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's considered for resale. So there's like I said last week, a lot of tax is about the intent of what you're doing. So the intent would be that we are selling the customer the material because it's a part of the contract price. So we're selling the customer the material that we are installing. So that's why we have to pay sales tax on that material, or use tax, like I said, is what we do on the back end. We pay use tax.
Except for the stuff we sell wholesale. We then capture the sales tax when we sell it to the customer and pay it.
Yeah, so our exemption, our sales tax exemption is a sale for resale. So wholesale, since we're reselling that material, we don't have to pay tax on it. We pay the wholesale customer will pay sales tax to us when they buy the material, and then we remit that sales tax to the state. It is very important, if you collect sales tax, remit it to the state. If you ever got caught, they I think the penalty is like maybe
20 years in jail.
not that bad, but I mean they'll shut you down. Bogies.
Oh my goodness.
Like,
Bogies is where we had lunch Friday, and it was good. I recommend the potato salad.
I picked the place. It was awesome.
good
Zach called it boogies.
Do not get the twice baked potato.
potato.
Unless you want to pay $6 for a half a tater that has some Kraft shredded
This is
cheese
getting
sprinkled
bad,
on
bad,
top.
bad, bad.
Do not get the twice baked
Did
tater.
you get
Do
potato
not
salad?
seek the treasure.
Broccoli salad. It
Oh,
was really good.
The potato salad is really awesome. The tater salad.
So,
Some
as
people
far
will
as
know what tater salad is.
the difference between the use tax and the sales tax, I've heard this, that if you're installing something that, like a fence, for instance, that's to become a permanent part of the person's property, you don't charge them sales tax. Is that correct? Is that a thing, or am I just making this up? Or
That's not a thing.
okay,
So
No.
on
cool.
So, like,
But there is a difference from
is-
sales and use tax.
Same rate.
same rate.
rate's the
So,
same? Yeah.
sales
Okay.
tax is where you pay it on the front end. Use tax is where you pay it on the back end. And I guess that doesn't make sense.
So we're paying tax on the material when we use it.
Yes.
That's why it's called use tax.
Yes.
And we're not paying material on the tax when it are paying tax on the material when it's sold to us or to a customer.
Yeah.
We're paying
Before we. Yeah.
material when we paying tax when we use the material.
And the use tax is incorporated to the sales price.
That's correct.
So therein forwarded to the customer
Mhm.
in the same way that sales tax is. It's just a wording based on intent.
Yeah. So for the customer, a sales tax would be a different. Yes. I couldn't fully form that thought right now. Sorry, y'all. I'm a very
I
thoughtful
mean, it's just
person.
use tax is up here as a line item in the invoice, wherein sales tax is after the subtotal, you add the sales tax basically for like a real. But
Yeah, but normally when you see sales tax on something, like if it's going to be on your total bill.
Right.
Right. As where we're charging the customer the use tax, which is just the tax on our cost in the material.
Right.
So it's not on the total bill.
Okay, so that's a difference.
Now, not to get off on this tangent, but if you really want to like go study some crazy tax stuff, go look at the state of Mississippi. Right. And so in fact, we have some listeners in Mississippi, but they do a gross receipts tax. And then not only is it just a gross receipts tax, but there's like 6 or 8 or 12 different categories of what the job can be in. They all have different tax rates.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if the job's under 10,000 or over 10,000, the
Right.
tax rates are different. And I mean, it gets pretty messy down there. But that I was reading the comment. So that gross receipts tax is on the total of the project. Right. So that would be kind of more like when you go to the store and buy something and you see that like sales tax line down there. That's how Mississippi tax works.
And something that we kind of didn't mention that goes with this is that, like in Tennessee, we only pay use tax on the material of the installation, but we're not paying it on the service of
Right.
installing it. That's exempt. So, if you install it attached to their home where it becomes real property. So that's important. If you're installing temporary fence, that whole thing's taxable.
Right.
So then you're
Okay, so that's where I'm getting confused is
Yes,
that the
that's-
service itself is taxable in the temporary circumstance.
in the temporary realm. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
So
So-
there was some truth to that statement
Yeah,
I made,
that's-
just not.
I
in
didn't
the way
bring
that-
it around. Yeah. But
Thank you.
that's what you're talking about
Okay.
is the temporary fence. All of that's taxable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that doesn't become real property. And a fence, when it's installed, becomes real property when you install it.
And what
So
kind
it's
of,
like permanently attached to the property.
say for instance, somebody's whatever, not doing it right, however you want to say it.
Mm.
What if they are just, oh, I don't know a whole lot about this use tax nonsense. I'm just going to put sales tax on my bill and then put that aside, and I'm going to pay the state that instead of a use tax.
So the
What happens then?
easiest thing, and I was going to kind of like try to circle back to this towards the end, but if you're a small fence company and you don't want to take on a lot of administrative burden, like honestly, the easiest thing is just to pay tax when you buy the material. And then you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about it. At least in the state of Tennessee. Now, every state's different. Like you need to know the laws and rules in your state. But in Tennessee, if you were small and you didn't want to have to worry about like keeping track of all your material cost and then having to submit forms and pay your taxes and all that stuff, just pay it when you buy it.
And
Right.
let me pause you right there. We said this last episode. We didn't say it this time. We're not tax professionals.
Mm-mm.
Right,
So
right. No,
this is
all-
not tax advice. But I do agree. If you're not sure, pay it on the front end. I mean, that's not going to hurt. Like if you were to get audited, keep your receipts. Obviously, you have to keep all of your receipts, even if it's for lunch.
Yeah.
I can't stress enough that every receipt should be kept some form or way in case you're audited.
Right.
But yeah, Your hesitation made me lose my train
No,
of
I
thought.
was just thinking that I overheard a conversation about, well, I don't know where that receipt went, but I try to give them to you, like maybe within the last week or so. But I believe that if you get
Who-
audited, if you don't
was
have a
that you?
receipt,
I don't think that. Oh no, I was thinking.
Is that your voice?
Me?
I
I'm
don't.
pretty
I hope
sure
that
that
wasn't
was
you.
you talking to Angie
Why
about
does she
some
talk like that?
receipt.
That's what I don't care about the receipt. Why is that her?
Hold on, what was her voice? What
It's
did it
like, well, I don't know where the receipt went. I'm gonna get over here and make me some peach cobbler.
But first, I gotta take my shoes off and get pregnant. so-
Right there, you go. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, you give. What's your impression of Alyssa? Let's hear it.
I would just say I don't know where the receipt went. I don't.
Oh,
I mean,
that's no fun, Zach. Come on.
she's more Southern Belle than that. Than like North Carolina grandma with
Oh.
the
Backwoods.
right.
All right. Anyways. Yeah, so my understanding of it is if you don't have a receipt, it basically didn't happen. If you get audited, right?
And yes, and if you get audited, not to get too deep in the weeds, there's a thing called factoring that the auditor will do, and they take basically they take a sampling of these few years, and if you don't have a receipt for these specific items, then they will divide it by the total amount in a category. So, like meals and entertainment, if you didn't have receipts for the line items that they randomly chose, then they divide it by the total in that category, and then they multiply it by the total. I might actually have that formula wrong, but it's been a long time since I've done that. But
What?
basically, it can really screw you up.
It gets
If-
really expensive.
It gets really
I just heard you say
expensive.
you multiply it by the same,
I know, that's
divide it
what-
by
You
the
divide
same
it by
number that you
12.
just multiplied it by.
That's why I said that.
Multiply it times 2 and then divide it by 2.
Of your strengths and weaknesses, where would you place math?
Obviously, number one.
On the strength or the weakness?
Both.
I'm not going to answer.
Multiply it by 1 and then divide it by 1, and that's how much it is.
And you can put it in whichever category you prefer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I said that formula actually does not sound right. But
That gif of the lady looking at the
The thing.
geometry formulas.
And then-
Yeah.
y'all don't know how many times I use that, especially when Daniel starts talking. That's just what my brain automatically
Every
does.
time.
But
And then
And-
she goes and makes some cobbler.
and then I make cobbler from the peaches I picked.
It's just how to find the area of a triangle.
So I
penalty is 100%, and then interest is going to be some ungodly amount. I think on that, I think penalties 100%, interest might be 100%. It's super expensive. They now auditors are people, you can work with them, but
It's that piece of crap camera.
but basically keep all your receipts. Don't try to do business, upright.
We've talked about this before.
Be ethical.
Right.
Yeah.
Like try to do it right.
Try
Because
to
what?
do it
Who
right.
was it? On the show that was we were talking about. Was it the banker? Was it Kirk? Somebody was talking, or maybe it was insurance. It was like, if your intention is to do a loophole, like the person on the other side is aware that that's what you tried to do. So to be at the end and be like, oh man, oops, I didn't know real
Oh,
good.
whoops. I just multiplied it and then divided it.
Yeah.
Right.
And they will put you in jail
Yep.
for sales tax evasion. I've been a part of some horror stories of that. So
Yeah. I like Al Capone. Isn't that what he went to jail for? Tax evasion?
Yep.
So I personally know 2 people. One of them got busted and had to pay about $100,000, and the other one got busted and had to pay $280,000. So, yep, be careful.
And I'm just going to put this out there. I'm not a tax professional, but if anyone wants me to kind of look at your state and just give you, just kind of tell you what
Oh my goodness, I'm trying to think like how do I eliminate that liability from my life?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not a tax professional, but I mean, if
You can ask questions.
exactly, you can ask questions. I can point you to resources that can help you. So
Oh, okay. Whew. I
I know.
won't personally help you, but I'll help you find help.
Right.
yes, I can help you find help.
Okay. All right.
As an individual. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, she's going to do that as an individual. Oh, wait, she's my wife. That doesn't help any.
I'm
Like,
still in this
oh,
with
no.
her. We're married.
All right. So Donnie actually brought up a good point earlier. Unless they have a tax exempt form. So also in
I was gonna talk about
Mississippi, they have
that.
MPC forms. So there's that.
Well, I was thinking about that as it applies to MFC manufacturing. That
That's
if
a whole nother can of worms.
Well, then Memphis Fence ornamental fence. If a customer is purchasing fence from us to then resell and supplies us a tax exemption,
yep, then they buy it tax exempt. And that's
and
on
then,
them what happens to it. And then we have to keep that form. That's the same as a receipt
Right.
because if we don't have that
to
form,
say,
it didn't
here's why
happen.
we didn't do it.
That's right.
Because somebody's got to pay the taxes. That's
Right.
how this works. If we
Right.
didn't pay tax on the material in the beginning, somebody somewhere down the line has to show proof of having paid taxes if we're audited. But we're going to just assume we're going to get audited.
And then we're going to throw our tea in the harbor.
Can you do the crickets, please? He did that joke last week, and
I know.
It was stale then too.
No one
I mean,
Thank
likes
you.
it.
I know this
So
is the third episode that I've heard of that you have done the tea in the harbor.
I'm going to keep doing it. Every time I'm going to find somewhere to put it in.
He'll forget that by next week.
I told Adam about it. And he thought it was quite hilarious. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong with
you
these
are
people.
so funny, Dan.
That's why he wanted to.
I wish I would have been there.
That's why he wanted to answer Adam, because he knew that was coming up.
Oh, he was
Yeah.
going to set
We
him
needed
up. Hey,
backup.
call me during the show, bud, and set me up for the tea in the harbor joke.
Right. Anyways. All right. So what else? States are different. Counties. Ooh. So counties and cities.
And we do both, right?
Are you aware of any rules that apply differently to like a county or a city?
Rules?
Tax
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm trying to think. I thought you meant like tax rates. I didn't know you meant rules. I should have researched. Like Alabama is yeah. You just plant that bomb and run away. Alabama is a big one that has different city and county sales tax returns. Like Tennessee, you only have a state one. Mississippi is only a state, but Alabama, Colorado, that's a big one where you pay at least cities. Do they have to? I don't think they have different rules from the state. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's different from the state. I think it's just an additional tax to the city.
Okay. And that's still sales tax we're talking about.
And that is still sales and use tax. Yes.
Okay.
So. All right, hit me, Zach.
I don't know. Congratulations. You've won the prize or something.
I know, and then I'm going to go research that tonight and be like, nope, that was wrong. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I think
County,
it's
cities, Mississippi. Don't get caught charging or collecting and not paying.
Josh, Johnny, any questions?
This isn't touch screen, I don't think. That's the end. That's all we got on the agenda.
Yeah. That's
So
all we
we've
got.
talked about all we can talk about, and we're only 59 minutes in, which is
actually-
record time for us.
I know. I think that's actually a pretty decent time to cut it off when there's nothing left to say.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do?
What do you do?
We go home.
Yeah, I'm with
Aria's
it.
purse is already packed and in her
Can I
lap.
close this without Dan? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think it's forgiven. Go ahead, do it. The stage is yours.
Hey, I'm officially the host. I'm gonna motion to close, second my motion, and then accept the motion all in one.
You better hurry
Swift
before he
motion.
comes back.
You want to speed up?
Okay, everybody. Thank you guys for joining in. I'm Zach Shue, the host of Powerhouse Fence. It's about goddamn time.
Maniacal laugh.
Cool. Thanks everybody for watching Donnie and Josh. We're closing it out. Quick, we gotta go. Here he comes.
Hold on, I had a question though.
I closed the show, man. You weren't gonna be here.
No, you didn't close it. It's still going.
tried.
It's still going.
I tried. I almost did it. I took
Sorry.
over and everything. It was
Sorry.
amazing.
Sorry,
Maniacal-
listeners.
Maniacal laugh.
Oh, well, you got it once. I'm sorry. I have a question. So this whole we kind of talked earlier a little bit about like the automotive industry commission thing, or the piecework or whatever.
Piecework. Yeah.
So when you have an auditor sitting in front of you,
Mhm.
and you say, "Oh no, we pay commission." So, if I were an auditor, I would immediately go, "Okay, so you're paying a flat rate for a job, right? Whenever this job is completed, and you send these people out to go do it. Why? What's the difference? How are they still W-2? That seems to be like a super gray area, at least in our industry, right?
Is that a big thing in our industry?
I've never heard of anyone doing it. I mean, maybe there are people out there that do it. I have no idea, but I thought about that.
So
How is that not just subcontracting?
Right. That's
So
what
are
I'm
they going to
saying.
use our tools when they do this flat rate piecework? Yes.
And our equipment and our trucks and everything else, and it's our material.
So they're employees. So which one are they?
So
but
that
it must be about
that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a real gray area. I don't know that you can do it and people still be W-2.
We need to. I'm going to ask the automotive guy.
So I think, but if you're in the automotive world, it's expected in that world, right?
That's how they do it.
That's common practice in that world, but in ours, it's not. And so I wonder if even if we tried to operate under the same rules as what happens in the automotive world, would we be allowed to do that?
Oh, does that get into that classification of business with the?
Maybe, I don't know.
So, but I feel like if let's say we're the first fence company to ever do it, and then we got audited, I feel like what the auditors would do is then look at the automotive industry and use that as a guide for what we're doing. So I would think that contract, like whatever I just read, I'm assuming that's
Or what
right.
if we just unravel the whole automotive industry's payment?
Exactly. Just
Right.
They're
now they're coming after us.
So I
So
think that contract would have to be maybe stated, and I don't know how it works, but signed between you and the employee that
I gotta
they
find out
understand.
tonight.
I know. Now we're gonna have to.
but if we have them on W-2, we're already paying the payroll taxes and everything else. So from the IRS perspective, that is like the way that benefits them the most. So
Yeah.
would they be, I don't see how they would be mad that they're not on 1099. That's interesting. Anyways, I just had that interesting thought during my break. And so I just wanted to come back and throw that out there at you.
Thank you.
It was so pointed and concise, and now it's just open-ended can of worms. Goodbye, everyone.
We
Good
don't
luck.
know.
Food
Good
for thought.
Good luck out there.
Here's a big question that no one has the answer to. Good
Actually-
night.
Or if you do have the answer, let us know.
That's what I would like. I would really like for some listener to have the answer and to be able to say, no, it works like this, or it doesn't, or whatever.
Ilaria, there's a clip to post on social media.
Yeah. Make some reels. Reel it up.
Reel it.
Okay, cool. I want some listener engagement. I mean, we got Donnie and Josh on here commenting. That's cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. I forget. I can show the comments. There you go. I put Donnie on there. Oh, hold on. I'm going to put Donnie's comment that says it's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. All right. That's all I got.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. See you later.